Hey, Screaming Geek Me here. I am Jerry the Geek. Today we got a special one. We're going to talk about the 4K bootleg issue of Star Wars Project 77 and of course 80 and 83. But before we get into that, if you like physical media, 4Ks, Blu-rays, DVDs, if you like home theater movies in general, please check out my other videos on my channel because I do reviews. I do some unboxings, collection updates. I do different discussions. Check that stuff out, see what you like. You always hit the like button, subscribe, and turn your bell notifications on. And always comment below to, what your thoughts on anything. So we're going to talk about Star Wars, the original trilogy on 4K. I wasn't planning on doing a review of this because I'm not big on as far as talking about bootlegging, because I think it's a wrong way to go unless it's the only way to obtain a movie that you really like. If there's not an official release, if the studios are being ignorant, not in releasing something, I don't like to, but I do occasionally. But like I said, I've done a video on bootlegs you could check out, because in my whole entire collection, I only own about three. I own the Star Wars, the Blu-ray despecialized versions. I bought Prey, but I did replace it with the official release when it came out. And also Song of the South, because that'll probably never get an official release. So yeah, I don't like talking about bootlegs, but I wanted to do this review because this is more of a warning about not wasting your money to get this. So I wanted to discuss this and show some screenshots. And, again, just a warning, save your money, do not pick this up. So for those of you that may not know about the despecialized versions of the original Star Wars trilogy, it's basically, it came about, over the years, if you haven't known, George Lucas kept tweaking with the original trilogy because it wasn't his vision. He wanted to make things better, and he put a lot of CG in it and changed things to make it for him to make it more cohesive for the whole series. And he just kept screwing with them, and it got to a point where he refuses to show the original theatrical versions. The last time the original trilogy got released on physical media was DVDs. It was considered a special feature on the DVD set. After that, he's like, no more. If you want the originals, you cannot see them. Which that's one of the, Lucas, it's a love-hate relationship with George Lucas. Yes, I can see his point as far as the whole film industry goes. Where would the industry be without George Lucas? I mean, you look at what Lucasfilms has done for filmmaking. But on the flip side, where would George Lucas be without the fan base? And the fans have been clamoring for these original, Star Wars trilogy, and refuses to let them be shown in this, new high quality of the formats. So because of that refusal, fans have been wanting so much. Fans have got together and said, hey, screw Lucas, let's do it ourselves. And a guy who goes by the name of Harmy online, and they come out with a despecialized versions of the original trilogy on Blu-ray. I finally got these a few years ago. I mean, for the longest time, it was only available for downloading online. And I never tried that out. I wanted to have a physical disc. I don't know why I have to go through the hassle of downloading and doing things myself. So they finally started producing the disc. So I bought mine a few years ago, and I loved it. I thought it was great. So recently, I did not realize they were going to do any 4K upgrades until I was doing some research about the bootleg stuff. And it was, I come across an art, they were talking about, it was called Project 4K 77, the original Star Wars on 4K. So I dived deeper into that and seeing that the group was called Team -1. It's a whole new group that went back in and got a hold of some original prints and did some new scans and restoration. We'll get to that later. And they did the original Star Wars, and then next one they did was Return of the Jedi because they couldn't find the Empire Strikes Back. But then after they did Jedi, they actually found some prints for Empire Strikes Back, so they did that one last. So finally they, got this set out that they actually is available in a couple like eCrater. I'm not sure if Etsy has it or not. You might be able to find them on a couple different. You do a Google search. I'm not gonna leave any links below because I don't want to be seen as promoting bootlegs. So let's get into talking about comparing the 4K set here with Harmy's Blu-ray despecialized versions. I'm only gonna show about three shots or so of each film. I don't want to take too much of your time. I just want to kind of give you a quick look. Now, overall, a lot of the scenes are fairly decent. I mean, there's scenes that they're like, wow, this is fairly good, but it's not up to 4K standards. But then there's scenes that look like total shit. I mean, the grain is, I don't want to come across as a grain hater because so many old movies out there that get remastered, they have that fine grain structure. It gives more depth. So, I know grain is important when it comes to film preservation. But then there's that fine line though where it just like gets too heavy and looks like crap and it's distracting. And so these, especially the first two, I would consider unwatchable. So the first shots here, I'll show you the 4K shot first of the, it's when at the beginning when stormtroopers are invading the ship. And has all the smoke and haze. And that's what really, that kind of stuff, that kind of picture really showcases the grain. And you can see this just looks like total shit. Why? I mean, this is unwatchable. Why would I want to go backwards on film quality? And then I was like, I don't remember the Blu-ray looking this bad. So afterwards, I popped the Blu-ray in. Again, this is the Harmy's despecialized bootleg. And you can see the Blu-ray here looks phenomenal. It does have that grain, but it's very well structured. It does have the cleaned up look, but it's watchable. I was very impressed with it. Next shot up here is when C-3PO and R2-D2 escape in their little pod and they land on Tatooine. And, the whole desert sequence, that's another great scene that shows us the grain, and this looks horrible. And pop in a Blu-ray, and you look at this, and it's nice. It's a refined grain. It doesn't look bad. Now we got to have a close-up of a C-3PO with some of the background, and you can see how bad this looks on 4K. And then we pop in a Blu-ray. This is much better. Now, the final shot here is I got to talk about, there are a lot of good shots in the movie that they did a decent job. So it's not all bad. There's, the end of the movie, the whole ceremony where they get their medals and they show the whole group here. It does look really good. The only difference is the colors are a little muted on the 4K. And then the Blu-ray, the colors have a little bit more pop to it. Now, I'm thinking with the 4K, they'll want a little bit more of a natural look, but it just kind of looked a little too muted. Now, moving on to Empire Strikes Back, we'll start off with the Hoth scene, which when it comes to snow white, usually the white backgrounds really showcases grain. And here we got a shot of Han and Leia in a tunnel, and you can see here the 4K looks like total shit. And then you pop in that Blu-ray, looks fine. It looks really well done. Next up, we got a scene where Leia is kissing Luke, and behind him is Chewie, Han, and C-3PO. This was not as bad. I kind of wanted to give a shot that didn't look too bad, but you do see a difference between a 4K here, and then we pop into Blu-ray. You can see, it looks a little bit cleaner. It looks better. So I did want to throw that in there. There are good shots in this movie as well, just not all the way through. Next shot here, we got when they're going through and getting ready to evacuate Hoth, and you can see a couple of the guys talking, getting the ships together. And this, the 4K shot, total shit. And then you pop in a Blu-ray. This is good. It's not perfect, that's a type of scene you wouldn't expect perfection, but it's a lot better. And the last shot we're going to show you from Empire is the destroyer and Imperial ship here with the Starfield in background. God, this really showcases how bad the 4K is. Yes, the Starfield, you see more stars, but is it too much? There's more stars than you have black, and I don't think that was well balanced there. But look at the ships. It looks like total crap. And you pop in the Blu-ray, I thought it was much better balance between the black deep space and the Starfield, and the ships look much cleaner, but you still have the grain structure, but it's well more structured. Next up we got finally the Return of the Jedi. Now this one is actually the only redeeming quality of this set. This is actually, of the 3 movies, this is the one that's actually watchable. It doesn't look like crap, but it does. The colors are more natural. They muted the colors. So you'll see here, comparing the Blu-ray and the 4K, the first shot shows the 2 pilots. Just taking, looking overhead, you see the 2 pilots, what it looks like they're coming and getting ready they're arriving at the new Death Star. This one doesn't look bad. And actually, for the type of coloring, it actually looks a little bit better on the 4K, where the Blu-ray was a little bit different. But overall, it doesn't look grainy. It looks good. The next shot here is a C-3PO and R2-D2. They're heading to the Jabba's palace. And again, it looks good. It's not grainy. It doesn't look bad. But the color palette is more muted. You pop into Blu-ray, it has a little bit more pop, you can see here. And the final shot I'm going to show you from Jedi is Leia, and when she meets the Ewok. Again, it's not bad, but the colors. I know screenshots are sometimes a misrepresentation of what the movies look like on your TV, but these are pretty damn close to what you see, because yes, I was very unimpressed with the color palette on Jedi especially, and this scene in particular, the jungle, I was expecting to really pop the greens, and it just doesn't come across here. It's just like, blah. And I pop into Blu-ray. You can see here the colors are, it's not vibrant like a new Blu-ray with HDR, but it does have some color to it. So that pretty much does it for the screenshots comparing the 4K with the Blu-ray. Now, actually, to talk about a shining moment of this set would be audio. The audio tracks are very well done. I mean, you have a 5.1, you have a 2.0, and also original mono tracks. You have commentary tracks, and also isolated music score tracks. So I have a nice selection of what to listen to here. And the audio tracks were very impressive. I was shockingly surprised. I mean, compared with the video was total crap, but the audio really shines here. It does have that channel separation. It has that use of surround. You can hear the things going around you. And the deep bass at times, I was very impressed with it. So yeah, the audio is the shining moment of this set. Now, a quick look at the packaging here. You can see it, has a design, the Project 4K, 77, 80, and 83. And on the back, it, has all 3 covers with a Project the 4K logos on. It's kind of a cool design. And it does have all 3 discs in one case. They did make a little art card for it. There's some nice little cool artwork they did. And I did some nice artwork on the discs themselves. You can see there's the first one. And then you got Empire and then a Jedi. So they did a good, really job there as far as packaging and artwork. So to wrap it up here, again, this is a bootleg, and this is not worth your money. I would highly advise not to get this. If you do not have the original trilogy at all on Blu-ray, I would look for the Harmony despecialized version. I mean, that's if you're a diehard, if you need those originals. If not, like I said, I don't like going bootlegs, but if you want the official releases, you're going to have to go with the special editions. Something I mentioned at the beginning of the video I'd talk about here is the restoration work. I would not call this a restoration work at all. They found the original prints, they rescanned them. If they did any restoration to it, I do not see it. Again, there are scenes in it that look decent, but I mean, yes, I understand these are done by fans. Restoration work costs money, so I can understand why they could not do a true restoration. But you will see at times, you'll see specks and dust, blemishes. Here's a shot of one of them from Empire Strikes Back. You can see a little blemish up on the screen. It showed up a few times, and it showed when I did a freeze frame, going at frame by frame, it was there for like 4 to 5 frames. So this is proof that they did not do any cleanup work whatsoever. They just, in my opinion, all they did was a scan job, and that was it. So those original prints were shitty to begin with, and that's what we got here on the 4K sets. So this was a regret of mine. The price was $40 and an extra $5 for shipping. So this was a waste of $45 when I will never watch these again. Now there is no bonus. They didn't put any bonus on it except for the audio commentary tracks and the isolated music scores. That is the only thing they put on these. So they're trying to sell you on a 4K upgrade. It is not an upgrade. It's a backwards. Looks like shit. Do not get these. So that pretty much does it for my look at the Star Wars original trilogy. The Project 4K done by Team -1. This was such a shame. I was expecting an upgrade, but it wasn't. Please comment below. Let me know what you think. I'm hoping I prevented some of you from wasting the money to get these. Again, if you're a diehard and if you want the original trilogy in high definition, get Harmony's versions. They are very well done, very impressive. A big upgrade over the crappy DVDs that we got years ago. Again, I'm not trying to promote bootlegs. I mean, if you don't want to go that route, that's fine. That's your prerogative. I understand. Again, I don't like promoting bootlegs. But if that's the only way to get a certain movie, I'm going to do it. But I try and stay away from. That's why I only have a couple in my collection. Again, comment below. Hopefully this helped you out. Please check out my other videos on my channel. Like, subscribe, and turn your bell notifications on. And we'll see you soon. Geek out.